What's going on, guys? This is Ryan with the RK Outpost. And when it comes to Dave Chappelle's Netflix special, The Closer, after all the drama, after all the backlash, after all the protesting, it has amounted to nothing for the deranged activists and the lunatics who tried to get him canceled, as Netflix refused to take it down from the streaming service and Dave Chappelle refused to bend the knee. Well, that has now led to Dave Chappelle being tapped to headline a Netflix comedy special, and that has just made people even more upset, including people like Wil Wheaton. Now, Wil Wheaton, he's the type of guy that you almost forget that he exists until he says something really stupid and gets absolutely blown out of the water. And that's exactly what happened in this scenario. But the story that he has decided to tell over why he's mad that Dave Chappelle is headlining this Netflix festival is idiocy. It is lunacy. It is clearly made up. It is obviously made up, but he decides to tell this story anyway because of all the backlash that he was getting. Let's take a look at this article from Bounding into Comics. Wil Wheaton calls Dave Chappelle a bigot and a piece of shit after Netflix announced the comedian will headline Netflix is a Joke festival. Star Trek host Wil Wheaton targeted Dave Chappelle in a recent social media post, calling the comedian a bigot after it was announced Dave Chappelle would headline Netflix's Netflix is a Joke festival. And we're going to look at this thing. Oh my, look at that picture. Jesus. Anyway, we're going to look at what he put out there. He retweeted that Rolling Stone article that we were just looking at. Dave Chappelle set for Netflix is a Joke festival after being canceled. Wil Wheaton is very, very upset. Doesn't matter who else is performing, doesn't matter any of these other things. He's upset that one person who might not have his opinions on something or who might tell jokes that he doesn't think is funny is on the list. Absolutely disgusted. Every single comedian who is on this bill should withdraw unless and until this despicable bigot is uninvited. Any comedian who is part of this should be ashamed of themselves. Netflix may not believe in holding this piece of shit to account, but you all have to live with yourselves and the choices you make to perform with him. And fuck everyone at Netflix who is part of this. Trans rights are human rights and words matter. I cannot keep up with this Wil Wheaton voice. It's gonna literally destroy me, so I cannot do it anymore. But if that was all that he put out, we might do it in passing. We might talk about it as part of another article, but that is not all that Wil Wheaton put out. Probably because of the backlash he got for this, because a bunch of people called him out for being a loser. He made an edit to this post, and he also wrote a book in a separate Facebook post about why he feels so strongly. It is insane. It is ludicrous, but we have to read this, and we have to roast Wil Wheaton because he is claiming that because of Eddie Murphy's comedy, that he himself, Wil Wheaton, young Wil Wheaton, used homophobic slurs, and that is not okay. That's the story he's sticking to, that another black comedian made him do something he didn't want to, but really it's his fault because he's white. This dude is a lunatic. This dude is an SJW, but these are the types of people that are trying to get Dave Chappelle canceled, which is why the vast majority of people do not agree, because these people truly are lunatics. Let's look at the edit. 12 hours later, an important follow-up thought. It's very easy for me to sit in my chair and issue edicts about what other people should do. That's presumptuous. It overwhelms a larger point that I made in comment here, which is also its own post. I withdraw that outburst, and I regret saying it. Like, I don't know if anyone cares, but I guess I do, and I want to own it. No one cares about what you say in terms of actually taking it seriously, Wil Wheaton. People care about what you say because we get to make fun of you for it. That's why people care. That is literally the only reason people care. In a lengthy comment on the post, which he would turn into its own post, he attempted to explain his thoughts. This is where it gets deep, guys, and this is also where it gets so absolutely cringe that I hope y'all make it through. I hope you get through the other side of this video with me. For anyone who genuinely doesn't understand why I feel as strongly as I do about people like Chappelle making transphobic comments that are passed off as jokes, I want to share a story that I hope will help you understand and contextualize my reaction. When I was 16, I played ice hockey almost every night at the local rink. This is a book of a story, and I don't for one heartbeat believe that any of this is real. This is just what he has to put out there at this point. I was a goalie. They always needed goalies. I could show up, put on my gear, and wait for some team to call me on the ice. One night, I'd played a couple hours of pickup with some really great dudes. They were friendly. I bet they were when you hear the rest of this story. They were funny. They enjoyed the game. They treated me like I was part of their team. They welcomed me. After we were finished, we were on the locker room getting changed into our regular clothes. Before I tell you what happened next, so this entire thing's dramatized, right? It is clearly made up. This is the Jussie Smollett story right here. That's what's going on. Before I tell you what happened next, I want to talk specifically about comedy and how much I loved it. I listened to records and watched comedy specials. One of the definitive comedy skips for me and my friends was Eddie Murphy's Delirious. It had bits that still kill me, the ice cream song, Aunt Bunny falling down the stairs, mom throwing the shoe, really funny stuff. But there's a dark side. There's also extensive homophobic material that is just appalling and inexcusable. Long stretches of this comedy film are devoted to mocking gay people, using a slur that starts with F over and over and over. Young Will, who watched this with his suburban white upper middle class friends in his privileged bubble, thought it was the funniest, edgiest, dirtiest thing he'd ever heard. It killed him. And all of it was dehumanizing to gay men. It's very strange, isn't it? How he's talking about an Eddie Murphy comedy skit and is saying that he's to blame because he's white, because he is white, because his parents were white. He is to blame for finding this funny because as we go on, we will learn that he truly thinks that all white people are just evil, that they are truly evil, disgusting humans. All of it was cruel, all of it was bigoted, all of it was punching down, and I didn't know any better. I accepted the framing. I developed a view of gay men as predatory, somehow less than straight men, absolutely worthy of mockery and contempt. Always good for a joke, though. Let me put it another way. A comedian who I thought was one of the funniest people on the planet totally normalized making a mockery of gay people. And because I was a privileged white kid raised by privileged white parents, there was nobody around me to challenge that perception. I have no idea how that plays into you taking a comedy routine from a black man and not understanding that it was a comedy routine. I don't know that, but it's because you're white and all white cis men should be ashamed of themselves, according to Wil Wheaton. For much of my teen years, I was embarrassingly homophobic, and it all started with that comedy special. So let's go back to that locker room. This is when it gets good, guys. This is when it gets good. His made-up story, it's when it starts to get good. So I'm talking to these guys. We're all laughing and having a good time. We're doing the sports thing where you talk about great plays, feel like you're something special. And then without even realizing what I was doing, that awful word came out of my mouth. Blah, 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 F-slur, I said. The room fell silent. And that's when I realized every single guy in this locker room was gay. No wonder they were so friendly to a 16-year-old Wil Wheaton. They were from a team called the Blades. Amazing. And I had just really fucked up. Do you have any gay friends? One of them asked me gently. Well, I said defensively, then I lied. They say the word all the time. I was so embarrassed and horrified. I realized I basically said the N-word in context, and I don't know what to do. I wanted to disappear. I wanted to apologize. I wanted to beg forgiveness, but I was a stupid 16-year-old with pride and fear all over myself, so I lied. They must not love themselves very much, he said with quietness. Come on, dude. You cannot imagine that anyone believes this story, Wil Wheaton. This is insane. This is a Jussie Smollett type of lie right here that you're putting out on Facebook to spread to everybody because this is why you don't think Dave Chappelle should do it, because I need to make up a story about how I said something offensive because I listened to a comedy routine in 1983, and that's why Dave Chappelle should be deplatformed and canceled and no one should work with him ever. What a piece of trash Wil Wheaton is. Nobody said another word to me. I felt terrible. I shoved my gear into my bag and left as quickly as I could. I wonder if you showered. That's the question I have, Wil Wheaton. That happened over 30 years ago. I think about it all the time. I'm mortified and embarrassed and so regretful I said a hurtful thing. I said it out of ignorance, but I still said it. I said it because I believed these men who were so cool and nice and I played with because I was the youngest player on the ice were somehow less than me. I guess everyone, because that had been normalized for me by culture and comedy. A huge part of that was through entertainment and dehumanized gay men in the service of jokes. And as someone who thought jokes were great, I accepted it. This is so absolutely cringe. It is so stupid and it's garbage. It's obvious this is garbage. So all the stuff Chappelle did, that's all these cishet. I don't even know what that means. I can't even keep up with these stupid terms anymore. These people are pathetic. A normal white men, is that what we're supposed to say now? A normal white men are so keen to defend. I believe them when they say it's not a big deal, because it's not a big deal to cishet white dudes. But for a trans person, those jokes normalize hateful, ignorant, bigoted behavior towards them. Those jokes contribute to a world where they are constantly under threat of violence because they have been safely, acceptably dehumanized. And it's all okay because they were dehumanized by a black man. And the disingenuous argument that it's racist to hold him accountable, get the fuck out of here. This is so stupid. I can't read anymore. There's so much more of this. I can't read it. It is just him reiterating this fake story and that if you're a white conservative, you shouldn't be listened to about this. That's what he says. I don't need a lecture from some dude in wraparound sunglasses and a get-her-done tank top about how I don't understand comedy and I need to stick to acting. Dude, this is Wil Wheaton right here. Let's go up to this first picture. That might be the best one. Him sitting there cross-legged. He can cross his legs like that because this man has no dick. Your Honor, this man has no dick. This is Wil Wheaton. What a pathetic loser. I'm sure you're upset that so many people are more relevant than you ever were or ever have been or are right now, just like Dave Chappelle is. But Dave Chappelle refuses to bend the knee, refuses to be canceled, even when pieces of crap like this dude are trying to do just that with his made-up bullshit stories. Let me know your thoughts about this in the comments below. Smash a like button, subscribe to the channel, ring the bell for notifications, share this video out there, and I'll talk to you later. Thanks for watching, everyone. And a huge shout out to my patrons. I appreciate you guys so much. Want to follow me on Twitter or Instagram? Check out the description below. You'll find links to my P.O. box and my Patreon as well. And I'll talk to you guys later.